Hey y'all, CB here, the No BS welder here at NBS Welding. I'm doing some more tractor implement fabrication, goofing with the tractor derrick, I guess I'm going to call it, tractor ladder, tractor derrick. Started putting this thing together. The bottom of it is a lot lighter than what I had in my first test where I stood it up. But I do have a 3-inch square tube at the top where I didn't have that before. The way we got right now, let's take a look. I've got 2.5-inch pipe, like the ones I lifted up in that one test, and I just left them the full length. I don't know if we can go this high. That might be too high. This might be too long. It might be too heavy. But we're going to lift it up and see. This is what you would get if you could use a full joint of pipe. And the other thing I think I mentioned in the other video is the thing might not have to be 2.5-inch pipe all the way to the top. You could run 2.5-inch pipe up this far and then run 2-inch pipe from there to save weight. And this top piece could be lighter, but it's all testing. It's all testing and goofing. Now, I didn't film much on the fabrication so far, but yeah, we got the 3-inch square tube at the top, the 2.5-inch pipe. I've got 1/2-inch rebar, 12 inches on center running up through here. And we got the quick attach, like a bobcat style quick attach at the bottom. And I think I got it squared up pretty good. And I didn't want to take the time to make the weight. We talked before in the other video how I'm going to build a weight that'll go on the forks that I made, because I made those forks for the 3-point hitch in the back. But I just went ahead and put the backhoe on it, and that gives me plenty of weight, and it also gives me a set of outriggers. So yeah. Let's see if this thing will stand it up. All right, now, goofing with this tractor derrick. First time I hooked it to the tractor there, like you seen, or lifted it with the tractor, I backed up, and it didn't want to stand it up, but it lifted it amazingly well. So I put the top of it against my Connex box out there and put a little pressure on it to help tilt it up, and I got it stood up, and I got to carry it around and see what it felt like and all of that. But the one thing was, when I was trying to tilt it back to stand it up, I couldn't stand it up. It was too heavy. It's been a while. I was away this weekend, and it's been a while, and I've been spending every spare minute I could thinking about how I was going to lighten this thing up and do this and that to make it so that I could stand it up. And then today, I got out the tractor and hooked to it to start messing with it again. And just on a whim, I hooked it to the derrick with the mast of the tractor, with the boom of the tractor. The loader was all the way down, and I tried tilting it back like that, and it stood that thing right up. I'm saying, like, if I have the loader all the way down like that, and all I operate is the tilt, this thing will stand it right up straight. And then I can lift it anywhere I want and do anything I want with it. So all this time, I've been thinking about how I was going to make it lighter. And I might do that, but I don't necessarily need to do that right now. The next thing I need to do is get the winch rig, which I've got right here. This has been stored in here under that shelf for quite a while. So we're going to get it out, and I'm going to put it on top of that thing, and I'm going to see if I can stand it up with the winch rig on it. Got out the winch rig that I built years ago, and you can see how this is set up. It's got the winch in there, and the battery is housed in there, and it's got a 2-inch tube, just like I've had this in the hitch on the truck and used it, and it was set up to go on the boom on my trucks, to use it as a hoist also. So it's been used as a hoist, as a skidder, as a whatever, and now it's going to be used for this. So what I've done on the top of this deal, I cut a 2x2 by 3/16 wall, square tube, and I've drilled it for the pin, and we're going to put this baby on there and see if the weight, see how much of a difference, now that I know I can lift that and stand it up, since I learned how, we're going to see if I can lift it, stand it up with that gizmo on there. Kind of funny, I spent the whole weekend thinking that this thing was so heavy that I couldn't stand it up with the tractor. You know, the first time I stood it up, I pushed against the Connex to get it stood up. And then I come out here and play with the thing this morning, and I realized that if I keep the loader all the way down, tilt it back, and then lift it up, I can raise it just fine. And then I come to find out I can add the winch, the battery, and that heavy steel assembly that holds the winch and battery, and I can still stand it up. So a bunch of the ideas that I had about making it lighter is stuff that I'm not going to have to do right away. At least not to take this thing out and try it on what I'm thinking of using it for right now. The bottom of it needs welded up some more. I need more rebar put in it up to the top to be able to use the whole thing like a ladder, and hopefully that doesn't add enough weight to cause me an issue either. And I'm also going to need a bottom section to this thing where the loader won't be what sets on the ground. And actually, I'll show you the bottom of this. Down here at the bottom, what I want is see, I can slide 2-inch pipe inside of this 2.5, and it'll fit nice. So I want to have it where there's a 2-inch pipe going up inside of each one of these 2.5-inch pipes, and then a fairly long, a much longer 2-inch pipe coming across that I could set on jack stands like these. Jack stands like these are rated for a ton. Some of them I have are rated for 2,500. You know, you got shorty jacks that are shorter like that. The idea with putting the bottom of it on jack stands, the jack stands have that threaded head that you crank the head to raise whatever load is on the jack stand up and down. And in the case with this thing, I could use that to level up my derrick. There's enough play, you know, in the tractor coupler that, you know, it would just level right up for me that way. And I could use the threaded part of the jack stand, crank the one side up till, you know, it's nice and level. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I don't really want the tractor to hold weight. You know, I want to put the weight on the ground. And I just want, the tractor's just going to be like a ballast or whatever to hold everything in place and provide weight, something heavy to hold this derrick to. But vertically lifting, I don't want the tractor's hydraulics to hold weight. So if I put the bottom of the derrick, the base of the derrick is on jack stands. And then I tie back, with ropes or cables or whatever from the top of the derrick back to something like the ROPS bar on the tractor. The rollover protection system on the tractor, that's a really, really strong part of the tractor. I mean, it's built to save your life if the entire tractor was to roll over on your head. So that's something that I could tie that back to, and that would, prevent the derrick from leaning forward when you pick up a load in the front with it. So a couple things I'm going to do right now. I'm going to get the base welded some more to the pipes, put some more rebar in it, put some things on it to connect a cable or a rope or something to tie it back. And I'm going to make a base section that at a 2-inch pipe that'll slide up in this 2.5-inch pipe. And I'm going to probably get that rigged up where it's adjustable. I can slide it up and down and change it, whether I want it sticking out a foot, 6 inches, or 3 foot. I should be able to slide that in and out and pin it where I want it. So that's what's next. Got this rig up on the table in here, and I want to show you the bottom part I put together before I put it in there. Those 2-inch pipes are going to slide right up in the 2.5-inch pipes right here. And I fabricated a piece here. I coped my 2-inch pipe into my other 2-inch pipe, and then I cut a piece of 2.5-inch and slid over and coped it and fit it in there. The reason I did that, I just wanted to show you, that'll make it so that you have a flat, touching a flat when it bottoms out. I don't want that flat hitting that weld on the pipe, because it'll probably get stuck. This way it wouldn't get stuck like that. And you wouldn't want to weld around this either, because that would create another irregular shape that would possibly get stuck if it bottomed out. So we got flat to flat, and I'll put that in there and keep going on this. Been back to work on this thing, and I show you, this is put together here. That's slid up in there. It fits tight enough. As long as it's bottomed out like I need it right now, it doesn't need anything else to hold it in there. Any pressure on this is going to be against it, so I'm not worried about pinning that. We're going to skip that part right now. We could drill and put pins in that later, and this could be slid in and out and adjusted, but for what I'm making this do right now, I don't need that, so I'm not going to worry about it. I got a lot going on, and I'm kind of behind, so it's going to be what we need to do is all we're going to do. I did a bunch of welding on this thing, and got it welded up where the quick attach is completely fastened to the derrick section. I cut more rebar and welded in so it's a full ladder now. I did some gusset. I did a gusset here on the receiver tube, and I banded around it. This is a short piece of 3x3 1/4-inch wall tubing going around it to beef up the end of that. Put a lift eye on here. I actually don't want to call that a lift eye, but the right word's not coming to me right now. But that's a connection point for this ratchet strap. This was a flat, a flat hook, the flat hook, like you'd use on the standards of your trailer, and I cut it and drilled it. And I actually didn't drill it. I tried to. This material that these hooks are made out of is so freaking hard. My mag drill would not drill a hole in that. And it just flat wouldn't drill it. It didn't want to drill it, and I put a little more pressure. It started to drill, and it stopped, and I hope I didn't ruin that bit. Them bits are about $50 a piece in my mag drill. And that 11/16 would not drill that. So what I ended up doing was torching it, and I really had to torch the hole quick because I don't want to burn this, and I was able to do it quick enough. It wasn't a problem. So that I got that 30-foot ratchet strap just for this, and this I had this Toughlex. Did the same thing down here. I cut off the flat hook and put a hole in it, and I got that 30-foot ratchet strap just to strap the top of this thing back to the ROPS bar on the tractor, and that's what that deal is for. So as it is now, I know a lot of people like to watch me do the fabrication on stuff, and there's not a lot of fabrication in this video. I'm mostly just wanting to show you the testing and the derrick. I know that a lot of my videos show a lot of the fabrication, and you know, if I do all that on this one, I think it'll run too long. So this is just going to be more the testing and making the thing work and what it takes to make it work. And so I'm excited now because I think the next thing is we're going to be able to lift something up with this. So I'm going to get the tractor and I'm going to get this thing laid down, pick it up with the tractor, and set it up like, you know, I'm going to use it and actually get a real test. And I hope, my big hope is that with the rebar and what else I've done here, it doesn't cause me a problem lifting it with the tractor. I have added some weight, so we'll see. So I lifted that sign frame with it. That sign frame's 174 pounds, calculated by knowing how many feet of tubing is in it and knowing the weight of the tubing. It lifted that no problem, so I climbed on it. This morning I was 166 pounds, 165.7 I think, plus my clothes and whatever, but it lifted the sign frame, and then it lifted me with the sign frame on it, no problem at all. Didn't even grunt. Two things happened that I didn't like. One thing was, with that winch, being set up there, pulling straight like it was, and being really full of cable, it looks like the cable was balling up all on one side. That's one of the things that's a pain about winches, and something that would remedy that a little bit here is I've got way more cable. That's 50 feet of cable. And if I ran the hook clear to the ground, it would be like 22 feet. I can't see ever wanting more than 30 foot of cable on that thing. So I could take some cable off. But another thing I saw that I didn't like, if we look up here the way this thing's made, right up there between the insert tube that goes in the receiver and this main frame, there's an area there that I think's flexing. Right in the middle of that. Right in the middle of my shot right there. There's an area of that that's flexing. When that thing was built to go on the boom that it goes on, I'm pretty sure that part of it sat on something. I'll show you this. I'll show you this boom that winch rig was originally built to go on. You see that? That obviously that 2-inch tube with the hole in it there is the one that the receiver tube that it went in. So the way I originally built it, when that thing was on that boom arm that goes on my trucks, that wasn't an issue originally because that part of the thing was sitting on that 4-inch tube, the big tube. So the way that thing's made, there was some stuff that was supported that's not supported now. So let's support it. Had some other doozens I had to get done. Been doing some structure for my buddy's car wash, but we're getting back on the tractor derrick. And where we left this was the winch assembly structure needed supported in a different way for what we're doing with it. And I did that. So the way that this tube ended right here. The tube that goes in the receiver went to right here and stopped. And right here, I had a tube. It was like this one, but it went this way. And what those are actually for is I've got a bracket made that holds an umbrella that I used to use back when I used this assembly for on the truck to do the load ring installs I used to do with it that I made it for. But anyway, what I did, I took some more 2-inch tubing and I ran this on out to where it goes plenty past this area that wasn't very well supported. See, this side had some structure, but this side was allowing some flex coming down, which was not good. And that situation needed a remedy, and I think we got it here. So let's goof with it some more. I've noticed how even though this thing's never come apart with all the lifting and pulling, that doesn't overlap there a whole lot. It's been in there, deeper. But when you lean it like I've got it leaned right now, which that's the way it would be when I was lifting it. So it lifted the whole thing like that. I'd just like to have a little more meat there. That's more stable than I thought it would feel like. It's just it feels very stable. I'm liking that. The one thing that I'm noticing, obviously my winch system, right there's the winch. I've used this. This was, like I said, this was built for something else. I've used it in the hitch of my truck for like a little skidder to drag some iron across the gully when I was building that 60-foot iron bridge I built years ago. I used that to get some steel in place, and I did it by putting it in the hitch in the old brick nose dually, and ran a snatch block and drug some iron across a large gully with it. So the way that is, I mean, I want to retain this, but what I'm realizing is that winch, for a lot of what I'm thinking of doing with it, that winch is too far away from the mast. Because in certain circumstances, I would want to lift something right here so that I can climb up my derrick ladder and have my hand right on it. You know, like I might to lift something up and set it, like I'm thinking of this sign frame that I'll be doing soon. I want to leave that winch rig to where it can be used like this, and then add something that'll make that winch a lot closer to the derrick. That's the next doozin we got to get McDonoughfied. Looking at this thing, like I said, I want to keep it. And I could put a 2-inch tube right here in line with the winch, with the hole like this, and the tube, you know, could go in the receiver on the derrick. Here's what I'm thinking. This is way too big and heavy for what I'm wanting to do right now, and it's just a matter of nuts and bolts to take it apart. I'm probably going to build a whole new assembly and put the winch control, and the battery on a completely different rig. I'm probably going to do that. You know, when I was taking this off and packing it around, it's like there's just way more there than we need for a lot of what I would do with this. And that's probably what's going to happen here. That's what happened here. I gutted that assembly. That thing is good. I'm not hating on it, but it's just for the application, there's issues with it. It's way too big. It reaches out too far, and the way it reaches out so far, it makes my assembly weak for no reason. I realized when I climbed up the derrick, if I was using the derrick as a ladder and I wanted to reach out and touch the load, it's too far away. I had that problem with the cable balling up. I didn't like that. And the reason I was having that is because you're going to have that if your winch if your winch spool is 90 degrees from your derrick and it's not perfectly plumb, then you're going to have that problem. And I might not always want the derrick perfectly plumb. I might want it to lean out a little bit. I might want it to lean back a hair, you know. So, and that thing's just so big to put on and take off, considering all those problems. But anyways, let's check out what I built. So see, this is a lot smaller and lighter. Put a go handle on it. That's going to be easy to pack around. With the winch spool running with the derrick this way, you know, the angle of it like this is not going to cause the cable to ball up on one end of the spool like it was doing. I did make it so that I can adjust it some with a couple different holes, and I thought about making this tube longer and you know, having a bunch of different holes, but I decided not to. I can always do an adapter to get it out there farther. But for my current thoughts on what I'm doing with the derrick, those two holes are, that first hole really, I'm going to probably want it as close to the derrick as possible. That makes it lift wise the best. That's going to give you the best strength. And we fixed the problem with it being too big. Fixed the problem. This should help a lot on not having the cable all ball up on one end of the spool like we did. And another thing about that assembly, I never charged a battery when I used that assembly, because I had a wire coming out of that I actually connected to the auxiliary wire, or to the auxiliary battery that's in the toolbox of the super service truck that my inverters is connected to, which is charged by the welder. So that battery was always being trickle charged by the welding machine running when I was doing what I was doing with that. I never charged it. Now, I'm not going to wire this. I'm not going to run the winch for hours and hours on this. So I'm just going to, you know, I'm going to have the battery, and I'm just going to be using battery power, and then I'll charge the battery later. So on this deal, I can just charge the battery. I can access the battery to charge it. On that deal, I had the battery protected inside of this housing. Having the battery protected like that on a well site was a good idea. I don't need that protection now. And having it like that made it a hassle to, every time you wanted to charge the battery, you'd have to take it out of that assembly. This way I can just pull my pin and bring this in the shop and charge it, or however I want to do, but I have better access. So we'll try this. The next part of this is going to be getting us a work platform to stand on. And based on the size of that sign, I need something 10 or 12 feet wide. And these aluminum planks would be good for that. To go along with that, those aluminum planks, I'm going to need a couple angle brackets, like a 90-degree bracket that latches onto the rebar. You know, like I'll hang it on the rebar and it'll have a vertical piece. Those rebar ladder rungs on my derrick, those are 12 inches apart. So my vertical piece would be about 14 inches. That would, you know, be able to hook on one of the rebars and then be held there without teetering against another rebar. And then those planks are about 12 inches, so it's going to have to come out about that far. When I say an angle bracket, I'm meaning a bracket that's 90 degrees. Going to want this to be lightweight, just as well make it all aluminum. Got some aluminum right here. This one's got a bunch of yellow overspray on it. I'll have to clean this up, but this would be good aluminum to make that out of. Got these brackets made. You can see how I've done some extra coping. You can see where I've cut out and fit things together to get a lot of extra weld here. I wouldn't do that if it was steel. And I just decided I would mention that real quick. See how I took the time to cut a hole in that piece of angle iron and run the tube through it. It's not that I don't trust my aluminum welding in particular. It's just that I don't trust any aluminum welding. Being in welding and fabrication as long as I have, and it causes you to look at the way things are made. And, you know, it's like, look at the aluminum ladders they sell. They're not welded. I mean, they put that stuff together, and you look at a lot of aluminum stuff, and it's like riveted, or, you know, it's made in some way other than just MIG welding it together or TIG welding it together. You do see things like sport bike motorcycle frames and things like that are TIG welded together. And I don't know if they anneal those. I would guess that those get annealed after the entire thing is welded together. I don't really know. But I have looked into, if you look at the tensile strength of the steel that we use when we buy steel, you know, with a tensile strength of like 65,000 pound per square inch. And when we weld that with a ER70 S6 MIG wire, that's a MIG wire with a 70,000 pound tensile strength, or a 7018 welding rod's got a 70,000 pound tensile strength. The standard grade aluminum that you buy, like this tubing, the tensile strength of this aluminum is 34,000 pounds. And I've looked at the TIG rod and MIG wire that you get for aluminum, and the tensile strength is far less. It's not even equal to the material. Maybe that's why you run into seeing a lot of stuff that's aluminum but put together in a way where it's not welded. Anyway, I know how to use it. So, I mean, I'm completely confident, and this is a part that I want to be light, and aluminum is definitely light. It's lightweight. You can shed a lot of weight. And there are some things when they're aluminum, they're a real big difference, you know. An example of where aluminum can be a real money maker is like a dump truck bed. If you own a dump truck, you get paid a lot of times by the amount of material that you can haul in that truck. You know, if you haul rock or coal or whatever, you're being paid by the amount that your truck will haul. If you've got something as big as a triaxle dump truck bed, and you compare the weight of an aluminum one to the weight of a steel one, and you figure that every time you get your truck loaded with rock, you're going to put as much rock as you're legally allowed to haul, and you're going to get paid for that by the ton. Well, in a year's time, if you've got an aluminum dump truck bed compared to a steel one, it's going to make a lot more money. The impact of that weight, it's considerable. So there's times to use it, there's times not to. I wasn't really expecting something that I'm thinking about right now, but I've got this aluminum plank in here. It's upside down. I just cut some off of it. This is one of the planks that I had out there that was bent. Where the end of the plank was bent, these were, I think, 15 feet long, and I only need 10 or 12. I think I cut this down to 12 feet. So that eliminated the bent part. This one was a good one to use for this. But one of the things that I was imagining, the brackets hanging on the derrick and then the plank setting on the bracket. And I'm realizing now that I can probably weld that bracket to the plank. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. I added some gussets. And I actually put that platform on the derrick with it down, and strapped it several different ways, just for fun. This is the part where I say, hey y'all, watch this shit. I'd say I got that thing pretty much sniffed out. What do you think of her? Gonna give her a whirl on the job tomorrow, but that's it for this one. So I want to thank you for watching, and remember, learn how to work with what you got. That way you'll always have everything you need. Hey y'all, CB here at NBS Welding. We're in the break room doing a quick merch video. For any of you that are interested in merchandise to help support the channel, we got the stickers. Small size sticker, like a hard hat size, $3. Got the bull logo, NBS Welding, got the name and phone number. The medium size, $5. And then the big bumper sticker, $10. Now, there's no shipping on the stickers. We can put these in an envelope. It's pretty simple, no problem. Next thing is the shirts. We did have some trouble with the shirt order. We just got proof that they fixed the problem they had, and they sent us the proof. So this is, they got it right where the NBS Welding logo's on the chest, then the great big NBS Welding on the back, with the American flag on the sleeve, the way we like it. $25 for an NBS Welding shirt. These will be here, supposed to be here September 5th, so we're taking orders. Got a couple orders already. Wayne and Mike, you guys, you're going to be getting your shirt. It's coming. Next thing I want to talk about the cup. My buddy tried to make these cups, and I wanted the QR code on the cup, and he couldn't figure out how to make it work. He made me cups. The QR code wouldn't scan. He said he didn't. He finally gave up. He wanted to give me my money back. I said, no, not all of it. We're going to share the responsibility. Anyway, he gave me a portion of my money back. I gave him enough money to cover what he spent, but I continued to work on it, and I got it worked out. I don't think my cups are as nice as his, but they work. And here's the thing. The QR code's got to be on the top where it's flat. If it's on the radius on the side of the cup, it's not going to scan. It's got to be on the top. I figured it out. But we got the cups. NBS Welding with the bull logo. Got less yakking, more tacking. Pretty simple cup. But like I said, I made this myself. I bought the cups and the materials. I put it together. Had to make it work. I didn't want to quit on it. Now I want to talk about this real quick because this something come up. A way for that you can give to the channel is through Super Thanks, through YouTube. And our guy Corey has given $100 Super Thanks repeatedly. And I keep thinking like, man, this Corey has contributed so much. I really want to do something to thank him, and I couldn't think of what I could afford to do. And I remembered these coins. Now, I had these coins made when I was making good money working in the oil field. And what this is, this is 1 troy ounce of 0.999 fine silver. It says NBS Welding. It's got the name and phone number and the designation 0.999 fine silver. So this is an ounce of pure silver. And if you turn it over, it's got the bull logo on the back. This coin, I'm sending this to Corey to thank him for all the super thanks that he's given. There's one thing there's two things about super thanks. It's super easy for you guys to contribute to a YouTube channel through super thanks because you can go on your device and you can hit super thanks and boom, it's quick. It's easy for you to do. The problem with super thanks is YouTube gets 30% of that money. So out of a $10 super thanks, you're giving YouTube $3. But it's kind of like that with the merch too. If a shirt's $25, we have to buy the shirt. So I have to put money in, there's money going somewhere. Anyway, this idea came up to give Corey a coin. And it's got a real nice little plastic case I'll show you. I just put it back in the case. That keeps them from getting fingerprints all over it. Here's the thing. When I got the idea that I was going to give Corey the coin, I wanted to offer it to everyone. So if you're interested in a coin, $50. Send Tina an email. nbswelding@aol.com. And thank y'all.